you're literally almost in the kitchen with us. Yeah. So it's, nobody wants to hear someone being shouted and bawled at you for a customer in the restaurant. Got quite a good retention rate with customers. Like we go through our sort of database of customers, and most of them have been twice. And we still get new customers, but we've got probably been open just over 12 months, and we've probably got 78 customers, 80 customers that have been back twice.
They keep coming back.
Yeah, they keep
and you
back.
Track that.
Yeah, we track that. Yeah.
But he's achieved a Michelin star. He was the head chef at the Hampton Manor for 7 years, I believe, before setting up your own restaurant. Toffs is in the heart of Solihull. I've been there myself. I can attest to the fact that it is, if not the best, one of the best meals I've ever had in my life.
If you ignore it, you're going to
run out of money.
You're going to run out of money, yeah. It's sort of like, and it's going to come up, it's going to be unexpected as well. You're going to be sort of in the shit then, aren't you?
Yeah, you're not going to see the things coming down the line, the risks and the opportunities. Because if you start building up your cash reserves and you have enough money, we always talk about having 3 bank accounts. One main account, which you keep 3 to 6 months worth of your fixed costs in, ideally, you build that up. Second one, you put your tax money in it. And the third one is called a growth account. Anything above the first 2 accounts gets dripped into the third account, almost like glasses of water. And that's a simple way to manage your cash for any business. But in the third one, once there's money in there, you can spend it. If there's no money in there, you shouldn't be going and spending on new equipment or new hires or whatever it might be.
So we was nominated for West Midlands Food and Drink Awards, and we won Best Fine. There's loads of categories there, to be fair. And we won Best Fine Dining Restaurant, and then...
Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Founder Stories. Today, I am joined by the very talented Mr. Rob Palmer. He's the head chef and owner at Toffs restaurant in Solihull. He's also achieved in his career, well, lots really. I was doing a bit of research this morning and there's lots already. It's going to be a super exciting episode. He's achieved a Michelin star. He was the head chef at the Hampton Manor for 7 years, I believe, before setting up your own restaurant. Toffs is in the heart of Solihull. I've been there myself. I can attest to the fact that it is, if not the best, one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. So welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
As always, guys, Founder Stories is about helping entrepreneurs and business owners with real life actionable advice, strategies, tips, and stories to inspire. And I'm so excited about this one because I know that there's so many restaurant owners out there, and I'm sure talented chefs, but the failure rate at the moment, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the failure rate of restaurant is 80% in the first year in the UK.
Doesn't surprise me.
Which is, to me, incredible. You know, the failure rate of normal businesses, well, normal, restaurant is a normal business, but, you know, a non-restaurant business on average is 50%. So to have an 80% failure rate shows that there are lots of people out there that are talented at their craft, but they're obviously getting some key things wrong. Hopefully they can learn from your journey. Today, we're going to share your story, but also we're going to share some lessons, and the viewers or listeners can gain insight from that. I'm particularly interested, actually, from reading and doing a bit of research this morning, in how you've been able to lead and run such a successful team. I know when I came into the restaurant, there was no, maybe this is like a good day, but there was no shouting, no swearing. Everything seemed pretty calm, and your team just all seemed really engaged and really happy.
Yeah, I think that's, for me, a massive part of who I am and what I am. Like, I don't believe in all the shouting and bawling that you see on the TV about from chefs. And I know it still goes on in the industry as well. It's not all for TV and all for cameras. It does happen still, but I just don't see the need for it. Like, it wouldn't be accepted in a normal workplace, and not that a kitchen is in a normal workplace, because that is to us. But in a normal workplace, if someone starts bawling at you and swearing at you, you're not gonna stand for it in any way. So,
and you can't enjoy it, can you? I mean, I guess that was the culture as it comes through. It's kind of like we play under-9s football with my kids, and it gets very serious. They're already 8 years old.
I remember when I played football as a kid.
And you probably got shouted at, because the culture previously, I remember I was in the park training. We train in a local park in Knoll, and I'm a very shouty coach, but always positive and always more, you know, man on, or there's someone behind you or whatever it might be. And this guy just launched into the kids. It's not good enough, totally unacceptable. And these are 8-year-old kids, you know.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, there's words get had, like, not that I don't, there's no discipline. There's standards that we sort of stick to, and the lads in the kitchen know that. I say lads because I've not got no girls working for me yet. You know, we're a really small team, and if someone starts shouting and bawling in such a small, tight-knit team, that atmosphere's there for the whole day then, and sort of probably the following day, like it never goes away.
Yeah.
So you've got we've got a really good relationship with my team. My wife's, she's outside the business, but she gets involved every now and again for like team days out and stuff like that. She gets involved, and like they all get on with her as well. So we are like a little family almost, and like but there is boundaries still as well, which they understand that.
Yeah, so there's a structure because people need to understand what's expected of them.
Yeah.
They need to understand what your standards and values are, but you want them to enjoy their work.
And I think because of the way I am, I used to say this at Hampton Manor, I had a much bigger team at Hampton Manor. I think there was like 14 chefs. Yeah. I sort of was over at Hampton Manor at one point. They knew that because I was quite a laid back guy and I don't shout and bawl. So when I was sort of like pissed off with something, like it was.
Yeah, whereas if you're shouting all the time,
they just think, oh, he's off again.
Yeah, and
they knew there was something wrong, and they knew I was being serious about something. So, and also at Toffs, the kitchen's completely open plan.
That's what I was going to say. One of the nicest things about the restaurant is, so when I came down, we sat up at the, I don't know if you call it the bar, chef's bench, which is incredible because it's a really visceral experience. Yeah. And I think there's only I don't think there are any other restaurants in Solihull that have that. There's maybe one or two in Birmingham, but it is.
I think in Birmingham they've got it, but not to the extent that we've got it. Like, you're literally almost in the kitchen with us. Yeah. So it's, nobody wants to hear someone being shouted and bawled at you for a customer in the restaurant. Yeah. So it's like, we just nice to each other.
Yeah. I think, before we get into actually the questions that I'd laid out, let's stick on the team bit for a while. You mentioned team days.
Yeah.
Do you have a structure for how you create the togetherness and the culture? Is it like every month we do a team day, or is it based on your feeling of how the team are?
I think at sort of the start, when we open, I sort of say like we'd have a summer sort of get together, like a playtime, we're going to have a drink and some food and that, and then we do one in summer, one in Christmas. And then we just sort of arrange them sort of quite ad hoc really, and sort of if we get invited to wine events, sort of like through suppliers, like everyone loves to try a bit of wine for free, so we'll do that and try and make it serious, and it probably gets a bit silly afterwards, but we sort of enjoy them together. We're always just sort of, so we're with each other more than probably with our sort of partners and family.
So it's just a natural thing, which I think I can learn from, and probably people who are listening or viewing this can learn from. I applied too much structure to my business sometimes. You need a monthly catch up, a weekly one-to-one, a quarterly away day, and all these things. But actually, even if you're a remote team, you start to get a feel for when you're becoming disconnected. Yeah. And then it might be sooner, or you might not actually need that monthly catch up because you're still a really connected team.
Yeah, I think that's it. So like, we was out together on Monday night at an awards ceremony. So it was like, and that was sort of arranged sort of only a month ago. So we did that. And then I think because we are such a small team, there's not sort of loads of management everywhere either. So it's just me really. I've got my restaurant manager and my sous chef. Yeah. And then I've only got one other chef below that, so it's like I sort of treat them both the same anyway, even though if there is something I need to speak about, I go to Ben, who's my sous chef, but Andy's very much involved in dish development and everything as well, and even like ideas to sort of move it forward and gain more customers and etc. etc.
So that's a key element as well, I think. In fact, you're treating everyone as an equal and involving everyone in the progression of the restaurant.
There obviously is a hierarchy, but there's that few of us. It doesn't need to be sort of really like
structured.
Don't need to be really structured, because there's only like 4 or 5 of us, and then there's sort of like a few part-time staff that come in and help around.
But even as you grow, I'm sure from speaking to you, you'd create a culture of inclusivity.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think like as a sort of chef, you've got. I mean, I've been cooking 20 years now, like professionally. So it's like, you have all these ideas, and sometimes like you do need someone who's below you to say like, try a dish. Yeah. Because everything's about taste with us. So we're always, something gets tried, a new dish gets developed, and we try it 2 or 3 times at least before it sort of reaches the menu normally. it's very rarely you design a dish and it goes on like after the first attempt.
Why is that?
Because there's always something, and generally it's because it's just a creative mind. Sometimes you're over creative and too many things go on there. Normally when a dish goes, like you've took something away before it goes on the menu.
Yeah.
Because you sort of strip it back a bit.
That's super interesting. It's because you can apply that to, say, even our business. I might design a new service or product for Growth Factor for clients and put it straight out. But actually, if I applied your process of it going through 2 or 3 stages of review and feedback from the whole team, and you know when you put out a new dish, do you informally go around and see the customer's reaction to it? Or do you ask for feedback? Or is all of the development
I think because of like
with the team?
Like we said about what the style of the restaurant, we as chefs, I don't so much because I'm quite busy, so I'm still cooking meat and fish in my restaurant. Whereas a lot of head chefs sort of eventually come away from that and they just stand at the past plating food. And so I'm sort of, when dishes are going out, I'm sort of in the middle of it until sort of desserts are almost on the way. And then I might start going around and I'll speak to customers. Like, I don't ask specifically about dishes, I just ask for favourites. And if one of them says, oh, I don't know, say the scallop dish was my favourite. If that had gone on that, I'd be like, that's great. That's only went on today. Or
so it's a gentle way of getting feedback.
It's a gentle way of not specifically going straight in at sort of, what do you think of this? You want them to think that that's been on forever. So
you want confidence in the dish from them as well. Yeah.
But when they do say it's a favourite, it's like, oh, that's interesting because it's brand new.
Yeah, it's validation for you and it gives you confidence in the dish. What are your goals? So right now, previously, which we'll get into, you've been a head chef, you've maintained and acquired the star. You've now moved and started your own restaurant, which is in its 2nd year, I believe. Yeah. You've got how many covers?
Maxed were 28.
28 covers. What are your goals? Is it to be full at 28 and have a 6-month waiting list and be really premium and keep pushing up the pricing? Or is it to have a slightly larger restaurant? Do you want to always be cooking, or do you want to step away and have someone in there?
I think I'll always want to be cooking.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still 36, so maybe in 20 years' time I'll take a step back.
And I do think that's a big difference, because I went to a restaurant recently in Birmingham. Whilst it was really good, the restaurant, on the face of it, from a marketing perspective, is all about the chef. But the chef wasn't there, which I think there's a bit of misalignment. You know, if you go to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, I think the Hospital Road, I'm not sure if it's still there now. That was our first experience of like a Michelin-style restaurant, maybe 20 years ago. Or we haven't been together for 20 years, actually. Maybe 15 years ago, Kieran and I went. But we knew before we went, because of the website, the press, the marketing, that, I've forgotten her name now, who was cooking there. But he had a female head chef there. Claire. Yeah, which we were expecting. Yeah. So there was alignment between our expectations and what happened. I think the opportunity with coming to Toffs is that people know that you're there and you're cooking for them.
I think
it's a big difference.
I have missed a couple of services, but I'm not going to be one of these chefs that stays there and says, I've never missed a service in my restaurant, because there is some of them. But I think...
But you have a family and you have commitments, and it's not...
I'd say 90 to 95% of the time I will be there. So yeah, I mean... But like I said, I'll always want to be cooking. Like that's what we love to do as chefs. Like that's first and foremost, as a chef, you're passionate about cooking more than probably business. But you need to sort of realign that. All of the time. You need to realign that. I think when you have got your own restaurant.
So what's your? It's a nice sort of loop backwards. What's your earliest memory of cooking, and then someone giving you positive feedback and you getting emotional reward from that?
I always just enjoyed sort of helping my mum out cooking at home, and sort of my nan was a really good cook, but I wouldn't say that's what got me into it. I just sort of enjoyed it. And then I think when I was growing up, food was getting on the TV quite a bit and cooking was coming on the TV a bit. And maybe this is what I always say, maybe there's a bit of a glamorous side to it, that scene. And if you're a chef, you know there's not
there's big personalities. I guess there still is now, but I don't know that there is as much as when they were coming through, and that it's the personality as much as the chef.
It's changed, it's evolved a lot, like everything does. The food on TV has evolved to what it was probably 20 years ago when I was growing up watching it. Probably longer than that, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. It has changed, but because food's changed and TV's changed. So like everything else evolves. So personalities have changed on TV.
So were you cooking for family or?
As I got a bit older, I cooked a little bit for family. And then I just sort of got into it and really enjoyed it, wanted to get into it. Seen it on TV, thought it was a little bit glamorous, and then got a rude awakening when I got into it.
You went to college, you went to culinary school, you did it?
No, I just did an apprenticeship through Solihull College, strangely, which I don't think they even do it anymore. Because I wanted to get straight into work. I didn't want to carry on at school or college. So I went to college 1 day a week, worked 4 days a week. And so that was it. I loved it.
Where were you working at that time?
The Hilton, the Metropole at the NEC, so the massive Hilton. I spent just over 3.5, 4 years there. Then I moved on to another place in Solihull, which was a really good place to work at the time. Called the Forest in Dorwich.
How did you get that opportunity to move from a sort of branded commercial hotel with pretty standardized menu to somewhere like that restaurant in
well, actually, going
Dorwich?
back when I was at the Hilton, so like 20 years ago, they sort of, because it was such a unique hotel, the Hilton one, the Metropole, because it's such big, they was allowed to do a little bit more of their own thing. So they had 3 different restaurants that were all very different to any restaurant you would have walked into in another Hilton. But then it started going more branded, so that's what sort of changed my mind a bit of what I wanted to do. I always wanted to do the fine dining side of it, and I was starting to having to do like events and mass catering. I just didn't enjoy it.
And what I always associate with a hotel, although it's good, is a fillet steak, chips, and something on the side.
And we had a good restaurant. They had a good restaurant there, but it changed to only ever being open when certain shows were on at the NEC that would spend money. Which wasn't all the time. So it was sort of like, I want to carry on doing that, but I'm not going to be able to carry on doing that 24/7 here. So I went to the Forest, which at the time was sort of 2AA rosette level.
And did you seek out that opportunity? Because this is the key thing for people. It's how do you get the opportunities? Did you proactively?
Yeah, I sort of wanted to go into that. I knew I wanted to leave to get away from the mass catering and sort of go into more of the fine dining route, and let's just look for the opportunity. I didn't want to, at the time I wasn't ready to move away from home or anything. I was sort of settled. Me and my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, so we've been together since we was just before we was 18, so we've been together a long time.
We could do another podcast at some point on how to have a successful marriage.
Well, that's hard work. But
Well, it is hard work. But to keep it going over that long term is a real achievement, for sure.
And she was settled in her job. We met at the Hilton, because she's still there now. She was settled in her role. And so I went to the Forest and spent 3 years there at a really good level. And then the opportunity at Hampton Manor come up. So.
And these opportunities, when you say an opportunity came up at the Forest and an opportunity came up at the Hampton Manor, are they advertising and you're applying? Or are you going to them and saying, here's who I am, have you got an opportunity?
I mean, at the time, I was just looking for work, and they was advertised and I applied for it. But then with Hampton Manor, it was a bit more, I want to come and work here.
Putting yourself out there. Yeah, which is key, because some people look at other people and say, well, why has that person progressed a lot more than I have? But most of the time, they've gone out there and just put themselves out there at risk of failure. Like I had one of our clients who's a photographer, Elizabeth Hoff. She's a world famous photographer, photographs all the A-listers, the people that she knows, just unbelievable. But she started out as an apprentice, but she would literally make phone calls on a daily basis to all of these top photographers and say, look, I'll come and work for you for free. And just keep getting no's for like months and months until she got the yes. And then she'd go on set and then they'd see what she could do. And then you've got to put yourself out there, right?
That's great if you can afford to do that. I mean, not everyone has got that luxury to say, I want to go and work for free. Which you get a lot in hospitality as well. You get a lot of chefs that will go to restaurants and say, look. So some restaurants, like there's a restaurant in Scandinavia that's been very best in the world at the time, but I think about 80% of the people that work there don't get paid to work there,
because they know the restaurant, I guess, that they'll work for free because it's on
their CV and a learning process. So
it's almost like education, I guess. Do you feel like that's exploiting the individual and they should be paying them?
Personally, I do. Yeah, I would never think to run my business like that.
Which you could, because if you advertised you come and work with me, you'll get this company on the CV. You can get people for free.
You can only go and do it, not get paid for it, but I think you have to go and do it for at least 6 months. You can't just go for a week. But I've done it myself, and I've gone and done we call it a stagiaire in chefing. It's French word. You go and work there for a week and do a week there.
Okay.
And I've done that myself.
Yeah.
But it's only a week. Like you take a holiday from work, you get paid for your holiday from work.
Yeah.
You have a week.
And that is an opportunity.
That's
because
different.
Technically they could probably charge you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so it's different if it's only a week. But when you're saying to someone, right, if you want to come and work here for nothing, you've got to stick out for 6 months. That person's got to be financially stable to be able to afford to do that anyway. So I've still got to pay for the digs.
Yeah.
They ain't going to live there for free. They're going to charge them to stay there as well and eat still. So you've got to be in a privileged position to be able to do that as well. So but I would never want to run a business like that, I don't think.
But I get the feeling you're about giving opportunities to people that are talented.
Yeah.
Not necessarily people that are from privilege.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm massively sort of taking on young people and sort of building them up, and sort of, I'd always promote from within. I'd never sort of look to promote, as long as the person was there, I knew they was there to sort of promote.
Yeah, and if they're on your standards and values, you want to retain that person as long as possible, right?
100%, yeah. I think at Toffs it's easy to promote from within because there's not many of us, but at Hampton Manor I never ever, I think once my sous chef left and I brought a new sous chef in because the person below him wasn't quite ready for it. Yeah. And then that sort of person ended up leaving after that, but that was on their own accord. They thought they was ready and I didn't think they were, and we had conversations about it. And when they left, then they sort of apologised for the way they had to when they left, and sort of knew that I was
you were acting in their best interest, and they could have got progression. Yeah. Just
and now since he's left, he's actually done very well for himself, and he's sort of become head chef. He's had 2 or 3 head chef's jobs, and he's been on Great British Menu and sort of done quite well for himself. So
so it was the right move for both, actually, and everything happens for a reason. You know, when you then went to Hampton Manor, what do you think that you potentially do differently or you do well in order to allow you to progress? Because when you went in there, you weren't head chef, but by the end of it,
Hampton Manor was a very new business at the time, and I think the restaurant had been open about 7 months. The hotel had been operating as an event space for about 12 to 18 months maybe. Yeah. And I went in there and said, look, I want to, because I'd had dinner at the restaurant with my then fiance, and sort of said I'd love to sort of come and work here and be able to be part of it, because you could see it was going to go places. So I'd love to come and work. And then about 3 months later, I thought, right, let's go and do it. And I think I applied, and then I didn't start. So that was at Christmas. I went for dinner, and I spoke to them around March, April time. Then the position come available sort of in the summer, and I went there in the summer.
And what did you do when you were in there that separates you, that has allowed you to progress from a starting position into a head chef? Like, outside of cooking, which doesn't give you a lot of free time, are you doing your own learning and development? You said you've been off and done courses and things like that.
Yeah, so I was always reading books, always online. I mean, social media, and that was massive then. And so I'd never worked in a Michelin star kitchen in my career. So I went to Hampton, and the head chef there, a guy called Martin Pern, was old school. He'd had a Michelin star before, so he'd been through that, but he was like early 50s. So he was sort of, he'd already semi-retired, and then he took on the job at Hampton Manor and sort of come out of semi-retirement, which was because Hampton Manor was becoming a beast then. And I went in as like junior sous chef, so there's a sous chef above me that was at a very different level to what I wanted to be at. She was events, like sort of only worked in sort of mass catering event spaces before. And I always knew that sort of I was probably going to get her job without sounding arrogant. And that happened. She left about 4 months after I started, and eventually I took on her job. And I worked really close with Martin because he was old school and I was sort of young and sort of wanted to push things as much as we could.
So you learned as much as you could from observing him, talking to him, asking him questions. But presumably at that time you'd already set yourself a goal.
Yeah, I'd already set my goals. I wanted to become head chef, but not necessarily at Hampton Manor. Like, I wanted to be a head chef at a certain age.
But in your head, you wanted to be a head chef by a certain age.
And then achieve certain things.
So you've got this vision, which is so important for people to have a vision of where you might be in X period of time.
I only really got that when I joined Hampton. Like, I just sort of went there and I just seen how big it was going to be and what they could achieve there, and that was sort of what pushed me forward. And then Martin left and another head chef came in above me, which I thought I was ready for it. At the time I probably wasn't, but similar to what I just said about the guy who worked for me, but I stuck it out, I think for 18 months and worked under the other head chef, and we didn't get on at all. But like, I was just getting married, and so we just bought a house and was just getting married. So I was like, I'm not ready to move jobs. It was I was unstable to be able to move jobs because I was just signed a mortgage, just got married. So it was like, and at the time it was about staying put to sort of from a private life.
Financial security, yeah. So actually it wasn't that you've said, okay, well, I don't get on with them, but I've got my vision, it's so strong, I'll put up with this. It was more...
But also the guy that was come in as head chef was a couple of years older than me, but had a very good CV and had worked at some really good places. So I did learn, I was still learning a lot as well.
So even if you're not getting along with people, you can still learn from them, right?
And then, basically, but then he left, and then I got his job after that then. And then, like I said, I'd never worked in a Michelin-star kitchen. I'd never even stepped foot as a chef in a Michelin. I'd had an interview at Sat Baines in Nottingham, but I never took it serious enough.
How do you raise your skill level as a chef? Is it just practical application? This is like an interesting question for me. Is it practical application, or is there an element of learning that you have to go and do in the technicality of cooking, or do you do all that on the job?
You do like technicality. You learn on the job, I think, because you can't take that home and do it. You can't cook how you cook in a kitchen at home because you haven't got the space, you haven't got the equipment.
Yeah.
And it was about just experimenting and probably using the facilities you got at the hotel or the restaurant, because you can get anything, order anything you want in, and try it, and within reason.
So at that point, you're trying to create your own dishes as well, right? And
that's what we did. So the first head chef at Hampton, I went and I used to have ideas, and he'd sort of rein me in because I was young. Like he'd rein me in a bit and put his sort of classic sort of French touches on it, and that's why I think we work well together. And then sort of I developed my own style out of that then.
So it's kind of like finding a mentor is really important.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think having someone that you sort of look up to but respect, like you respect them, but also like if they want to give you a bollocking, they let them give you a bollocking and sort of take it on the chin.
Yeah.
But you've got that, you've got that respect for them anyway. So you sort of understand why they're, and they can see something in you, so that's why they're probably doing it. But yeah, when I got the head chef role then, and like I said, I'd never worked in a Michelin-star kitchen. Within 2 years, we had a star, and it was like, that's quite unheard of, really. So it was like, it was massive. So
yeah, it's incredible. It's kind of like, I'm watching a program called Yellowstone at the moment.
Yeah, I love Yellowstone.
You've seen it, yeah. So if you're a cowboy, you understand that cowboying, that's your life. That's part of your identity. You respect the people trying to teach you and guide you so much that you will allow them to get to the point where they're physically beating you to teach you a lesson. You take it on the chin and you move forward, but it's because you know they have your best interests. I mean, you don't want to get beaten by
but that, like I said, we spoke at the start about the industry, and I know there's some things happening in the industry that sort of don't get talked about enough, and that happens. But but like I say, it's and some people jump into being a head chef too soon. I think they can do it at a young age, and I think I was 27, I think, when I got a head chef's job. So that's quite young. Yeah.
Do you think, for you, as an honest answer, without trying to be humble, do you think where you've got to at that age is hard work or natural talent or both?
I think it's a bit of both, and sort of having a support network around you that's good. So like the people at Hampton, the owners of Hampton Manor, always believed in me.
Yeah.
Even though we went through some difficult times, like together, we sort of had some disagreements and clashed heads a few times. My wife was always really supportive of me, and sort of like she sacrificed her career a little bit for me to push on in mine.
Yeah.
And like, I'll always forever be grateful for that for her, and she still does now. So I think that's important. So having that support network behind you.
Yeah.
But it is about self-belief and hard work as well. I think talent's important.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with understanding that you have a natural ability that some people don't have.
And also, I think knowing that people in your team, even though they're below you, are probably better at something that you are.
Yeah, 100% actually. Hire people that have the same or above your ability.
Especially in a kitchen, like most head chefs don't like pastry, don't want to do pastry. So if you've got someone in your team that's better at pastry than you, well, that's why you hear of pastry chefs. So I've never actually employed a pastry chef in my restaurant team, because sort of my style of pastry is very different to a traditional classic pastry. So like, just like a well-trained chef could do it. But I think still, if you've got someone in your team that you know is better than you at doing pastry, then let them look after it. Like, how you have your ideas still and your vision, but if someone's better at something than you, don't.
And presumably try and hire people in your team that you think have the potential to be as good as you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's your strong team. Like with our business, people think when they come on board as a growth factor client that they want me doing the work. Then they meet my team and they're like, it's okay, we don't need to talk to you anymore. Because we've realised that these guys, for what we want, which is not high-level conversations about strategy at that stage, it's good quality numbers, bookkeeping, tax planning, all these things, they're better. And that's what you want, really. And you want to put out dishes, I guess, that you've just looked at and overseen and seen that the customers are 100% happy with that.
Sometimes the lads will come up with the dishes in the kitchen and like, I've not had any input on it, but it fits with what we're doing. So they know that if they say, I want to try this, I don't know, this new cherry dessert, the cherries are coming into season now. Like, well, it's got to fit. They know it's got to fit a brief. And if it fits, it goes on the menu, just because I haven't had any input on it. As long as it's tasty and it's how I expect it to be and what it fits in the style of the restaurant.
If the customer 90% of the time is seeing you in the restaurant, I don't think they're concerned as to whether you've actually cooked the dish, because they know that you're on it.
They just assume that it's come from me anyway. And then but then when we do talk, I will give the lads credit. So that was Ben's idea, that was Andy's idea.
Which they must love.
Yeah,
it must
they
give
love
them
it,
such a buzz then.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're starting to experience that head chef
100%
feeling without actually having the pressure and the responsibility. Did you ever think, when you were offered head chef, was there any part of you that thought, I don't want it, I could just stay where I am now and not have the pressure of it?
Nah, never.
Yeah, I don't think there's commonality between successful people in that they want hardship, struggle, stress, because that drives them on, which gives them reward.
I have had a couple of chefs work for me during the time at Hampton that were like that. They probably wasn't that bothered about getting to head chef. And sort of they're the ones that do sort of leave on their own accord and go and float around, and we'll only ever get to a certain level, but they're happy with that, if that's up to them.
How do you manage that though, I guess? Because if you hire the best team, which we've said is a good approach, so like I hire the best accountants, if they all want to progress to being a head chef, is that it is what it is, so people will just have a natural life cycle? Or do you need people in your team that don't want the headache of it?
I think you need a bit of both. I think you do need people like that.
And how do you identify, do you speak to them? How do you understand which camp they sit in? And if they're happy, this is what because I'm not like that and you're not like that, right? We want our responsibilities, progression, earnings to go up every single year, growth. But some people, which, because I can't understand it, I can't relate to it. So some people will happily sit in, say, a senior accountant role and have an inflationary pay rise every year because they're happy with their income, they've got a good lifestyle, and they know that as costs go up, their salary goes up in line with it. But my automatic assumption was always that people will want to keep progressing, but that's not actually always the case. But how do you understand whether they are like?
By speaking to, we move them around the kitchen and put them on different sections and so they do develop themselves. I think if you can only do so much you can for that person as well. So if you naturally see that they're happy with what position they're at or where they are in their career at the time, then that's fine by you, as long as they're doing their job for you. I think that's fine. I had a chef that worked for me. He came to me because he was sort of in a bit of a situation. He'd left a job to go travelling with a friend, and something happened to his friend's, a family member of his friend, while they was travelling. So he came back. So he left a good job. He was sous chef at a job, and he came to work for me as like a chef de partie, which is like just section leader, we called it.
What's it called? Chef de
pie. So most
is that
kitchens,
French?
Yeah, everything's French in the kitchen. Yeah. So it basically means like a section leader. They can run a section, but they should be able. You should be able to go to a chef de pie. Right, I want you to run pastry today. I want you to run sauce today. I want you to run larder today.
They're multi-skilled then.
Yeah. And he was just doing that for me, and he was doing it for like best part of 9 months. We used to do appraisals at Hampton Manor. Yeah. And I sat him down for his appraisal. I said, look, I said, I'd love to keep you here. I said, I can't promote you because I've not got a position for you. You need to move. You need to leave and move on.
You told him?
Yeah, I said, you need to leave and move on. I was being generally nice because he was too good to be at the position he was at. I had 2 chefs above him, below me that were above him, and they weren't ready to move on yet. Yeah. And he was as good as them. So it was unfair. And in the end, he left, and now he's head chef of a 1-star in London. So, and he was head chef when they won the star.
You have to have, it seems, not a fear of people moving, but to be able to analyse each individual's talent, where they're at and where they should be. You seem to have a really good grasp on that and do the best thing for them. Yeah. And I guess what goes around comes around. If people, because people will talk about that story, he's probably told 100 people to, and they'll trust you as an employer, right? They'll trust you to come to you, and then the advice that you're giving about whether they should stay or leave or their abilities and their potential, you're having those open discussions.
I hope so. And we did that with other chefs as well a lot, but I had our one-to-one appraisals and just sort of said where you're at and where do you want to be in the next 9 months, 12 months.
And some people, I guess, will come back and say, do you know what? I don't see myself being a head chef, but I'd like to be involved in everything that goes to the plate and get that feedback, but I just don't want the responsibility.
And some people are a bit sort of like the ones that we spoke about, like who probably haven't got that sort of drive in them. They'd turn around to me and say, in 12 months' time, I'd like to be junior sous chef. But like the only way that is going to happen is if my junior sous chef leaves. Yeah. So like
you have to manage their expectations.
Yeah, but because they don't want to, but also they don't want to be honest with you and say, I want to be sous chef, but you're not going to be sous chef here unless that person leaves. I can't create another sous chef. Even if you are ready for it, unless you leave. And that's when if they were ready for it, then I would say, look, I would probably sit them down again and say, look, you're ready to move on, I think. Like, not because I want to get rid of you, because I think you deserve to.
And I guess, does it help you as well? Because if you are having these open conversations regularly, you know what and they're being honest with you about their planned movements. The worst thing in a business, which I've experienced, is asking people where are they at, and they're saying they're really, really happy. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, they're handing in their notice because they're going somewhere else.
Yeah, I think if someone wants to leave, as long as they're doing it in the right way, like, I've got no qualm. As long as they're better, and especially if they're going to better themselves.
And it's an opportunity for them.
Like, if someone said to me, I'm going to leave, but I want to go and work at, I don't know, a hotel chain or a restaurant chain. Like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah. And
if their reason is money driven, then everyone's money driven. Like, anybody says that, no, I don't believe them. Like, that everybody wants to earn. Like we said, just
money is freedom and money is lifestyle.
But there's ways of going about. There's in certain places, like especially in chain restaurants, yes, you might get more money, but you'll plateau. Like you'll plateau there, and you won't get. Whereas somewhere like us, you'll develop and you'll move on to a better place, and you'll get a promotion within.
But I think what you're doing is really important, actually, and a good lesson for viewers and listeners is something I only learned over the last few weeks, actually. Like with us, we don't have a real clear structure at Growth Factor. We basically have back office that do all the bookkeeping, accounting, payroll, all of that stuff. Even the year-end accounts, corporate tax returns are done either in our Indian office or in our Philippines office. Then we have the next level up, which is really senior, qualified, experienced, UK-based chartered accountants. And then we have myself and Yasser as business owners. Yeah. So in the head of someone that loves to move through levels and rungs and they can see it doesn't work like that. Yeah. If you're at this senior accountant level, your progression is the skills and the characteristics that you have develop, and then your salary develops in line with it. But what we realized recently is actually you need to be really clear with people and tell them what you're expecting them to be able to show in terms of behaviors, and therefore what their salary progression will be. Yeah. And if they are likely to reach a ceiling because you think, well, this person can't present, they're not comfortable on camera, they're not going to do, because the only way you can really progress past a certain point in an accounting firm, for example, is to start to retain clients and bring new clients in. Yeah. And if you can't do that sales and marketing role, you are going to plateau.
Yeah.
But kind of just having that conversation allows it to be honest.
As a chef as well, I think 2 years is a good place to start, to stay somewhere when you're learning. I mean, I'll probably stay at places too long, personally.
Yeah.
And probably if I'd moved around, I might have learned more a little bit quicker, but it hasn't hampered me. So, but as a chef, sort of, you want to go and learn from different chefs, and eventually you develop your own style out of working with all these different chefs. Because we're really lucky in Birmingham, like outside of London, like we've got more Michelin stars than any other city. Yeah. But if you look at all the
it's great for eating out, but it's really bad for my bank balance.
But all the restaurants in Birmingham are all the chefs that own them are very different in styles.
That's true. Yeah, so, that's true.
Like you can go to, we haven't got a star yet at Toffs, but you can go to Toffs. And yes, we're at a level that we believe.
I love the fact you said we haven't got a star yet. Yeah. You will. Yeah. You got to have confidence and belief, which is another key lesson.
And then you can go to Brad Carter's in Moseley, and then you get to Penal's in Birmingham, and they're all very different. Even though they're put into a category of fine dining or Michelin star, they're all very different, which the general public don't quite understand that. But if they ate at all three, they would see that they're all very different restaurants. So as a young chef, you want to go and work with all these different chefs to sort of learn from them. That's quite often the way you get promoted, is going and learning. And then you develop your own style through that as well.
But I guess it's quite a small industry as well. So for them, to be honest with the chefs, doesn't create a bad name for that person. They moved on, but it was done in the right way. Yeah. And then therefore, the next restaurant is happy to take them on. Yeah. What made you leave Hampton Manor and start your own restaurant? Because you've got job security, you're 7 years in, you're head chef, you've got a star, everything's, you don't have to deal with branding, marketing, website, sales, attracting clients, paying rent, dealing with cash flow, forecasting, all of this stuff, right?
It was, so the pandemic was in its height. I worked all the way through the first lockdown doing, we called it Peels on Wheels. Restaurants called Peels Hampton Manor, obviously, and we did Peels on Wheels, and we delivered boxes throughout the first lockdown. We were the first restaurant, I think, probably in the country to sort of roll out these box meals. I think the first week of lockdown, we sold 75 boxes, so like 150 portions of, and don't get me wrong, I hated it. And by like Father's Day, we did like 500 portions. So we was doing more portions of food during lockdown than we ever do in the restaurant. Yeah. So like we was only a 30-seater restaurant at Hampton.
But you can't open, so I guess you don't have any other choice in that.
So it was like turning out this mass production of box meals, and people were loving it. But as chefs, it was like horrible. It was standing there. It was like a conveyor belt, like you're packaging food, and like it was just sort of monotonous. And it had a place because it kept the business relevant and kept it sort of. Kept some income. It kept some income. It didn't sustain Hampton Manor because there's such massive overheads being such a big building. Yeah. But it kept it relevant and it kept something coming in. We went back after the first lockdown. I worked, but during the lockdown, my wife was pregnant with our second daughter at the time. Then the October of 2020, we had our second daughter. And then lockdown happened again over Christmas. And it got to sort of the new year. I did a little bit. I then took furlough. I was the only person in the business that hadn't took any time off during the lockdown. Yeah. So obviously having a second daughter, it was a good chance for me to make up for things I didn't get with our first daughter. Because the first year, when my first daughter was born, that was the year we won the star as well. So it was sort of like that year was just sort of.
So what was your routine like then?
There wasn't one. There wasn't one. It was just like get up,
stay there till late.
Do night.
How many days a week are you working then?
Well, we was closed 2 days a week. The restaurant was. So the hotel was operational 7 days, but at that time there was a separate head chef that ran the event space. So like my first year when we won the star, I just had my first daughter as well. So it was just sort of like. I can't really remember it.
So when you're not working, you're
getting up doing night things.
Time. Yeah. And, you're not really recovering on the weekend because then you're doing your bit for your missus who's been doing the night shifts all week, and then you're up all night.
When the second daughter come and furlough was available, James, the owner of Hampton, was like, "Do you want to take furlough?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to. Like, it'd be good for me to sort of do things that I never got to do with my first daughter and whatever." Then he got to February 2021. Was it 2021? Yeah. And Hampton Manor was going through a transition anyway, so they were building their new restaurant, Grace and Savour, which was built and sort of, but because of the pandemic had hit, they just sort of stopped the build. It was finished. The buildings were pretty much finished, I think.
So that would be a second restaurant at Hampton Manor?
But it was the third, because they'd just opened Smoke, which I was part of the original design process of that, and opened the original concepts when they reopened after the lockdown. We did staycations. We thought at one point we was going to do this restaurant, the new restaurant. I was going to be taking over it. And then they sort of changed them. But during the pandemic, they changed their mind on how they wanted to go about the restaurant and what they wanted to do with it. So they was like, you can just stay in Peels when we reopen and carry on doing what we're doing. But that was like, well, put that much effort into sort of planning this restaurant. I was like,
so you'd almost designed to help them, your own concept, your own restaurant, it was
aligned with Hampton Manor's sort of concept and sort of.
Yeah, but did that start the idea in your head? I could just.
I think I did always want my own restaurant, because I was at Hampton Manor. I was head chef for 7 years. I worked there for 11 years.
Yeah.
Everything was always changing there, so it was always something new, and that kept me there. I think because there was always something new around the corner. Got to that stage with our second door, I was like, if I'm going to go back to going to 60, 70 hours a week, I want to do it for myself now. And so we had a conversation, me and the owner had a conversation. It was sort of, that was it. We went our separate ways, and sort of, I couldn't really do much at the time because the pandemic was still around. Yeah. So I just had a year of planning, a year of doing a bit of freelance, working for a few different people. Luckily, I got a few good contacts where I went and did some work for a few people, and then I was still getting paid furlough from Hampton, so that was sort of agreement we had. And then I did 3 months before Christmas 2021, so October to December. I got a friend who's got a restaurant over in a cafe over in Lichfield. Yeah. So I did some pop-ups there. I did 3 days a week there, sort of cooking my own food for 3 days a week for 3 months. Yeah. And that went down really well. I mean, ideally it would have been in Solihull for people to get to know Rob Palmer and not Rob Palmer from Hampton Manor. Yeah, I mean, that was sort of thing at Hampton. People knew Hampton Manor and Peels, but they never knew Rob Palmer. So I did that in Lichfield, which is miles away from here. But I developed sort of running a team again away from Hampton Manor, which is different. Yeah. But at the same time, we're building, sort of putting the foundation in place for Toffs, finding a site, and etc.
Pop-ups presumably is a good experience because the overheads aren't high. There's no long-term rent commitment. No. You can prove that the concept works. People like the food, and like you said, just get into the flow of running a team. Although you've done that before, but it's your team.
Yeah, it was my team, and so it was actually a team that was already at this place, but there was a new team to me, and none of them came with me to.
And you
Tops.
had to work out how to build relationships with them.
So Christmas 2021, and then January it was like all hands on deck to get open for March 22. And we didn't get the keys to Toffs until sort of, I think it was the 22nd of January.
What's the process? It's just out of interest for me, actually. I didn't write this down as a question, but presumably you look for locations, find somewhere that you're happy with the balance of rent payment, location, perceived footfall, ease of parking, all these little criteria things that you've got. So you find the place. Then, if it's not already a restaurant, you've got to presumably cost up for equipment and design and decor.
This was literally an empty shell.
So where do you get the upfront cash flow to buy the equipment, do the deck out? Do you take on funding for that? And
I spread that over. So I was lucky my parents were in a good situation where they've got no mortgage. My dad's retired, had a decent pension from Land Rover. Yeah. They're not millionaires or anything like that. They've just got a few quid in the bank because he had a really good retirement fund, a pension fund, and so they took a mortgage out for me, and so I'm paying them back now through that. And then I took a couple of business loans myself, and so literally I had nothing capital because it was sort of off the cuff that I left Hampton. It wasn't never planned. So it was like 12 months of where do we go and and it wasn't always I'm going to go and open a restaurant. So I might go and work somewhere else for a couple of years and build some up.
Yeah, but you took that bold step, which lots of people aren't willing to do. They say they want to go and do something, but the reality is, which is impossible when you've got a young family, to work as a head chef and save enough money to buy all the top equipment and do the design and fit out a restaurant.
We sort of begged, borrowed and stole to get what we got. And we've got it now, and like I said, the Toffs, when we took it over, it was a completely empty shell. But we went around a few places, and it wasn't just destined to be in Solihull. We did look at other places. We looked at a place in Kenilworth that was already a little cafe, little restaurant.
Yeah.
But I would have had to buy the lease, and then it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I'd have had to spend, probably cost me more to have done it that way.
I think the location that you've got, for those of you that could visit Solihull, it's a nice place to visit if you're not from Solihull, and you can go and do a few things in Birmingham as well. It's developing into that top end of town that has nice little cafes, restaurants.
Exactly.
It has a nice look and feel to it.
So the Solihull town centre's got like two ends to it, hasn't it? One end's like where sort of Subway and Wetherspoons and things like that, and then where we are, there's like they're branded chains, but they're like, there's Coates Brasserie and Carluccio's, and there's Kabu, the Japanese restaurant, which is really good. It's a small chain, but it's quite a good chain.
I love the sushi there,
yeah, it's good. It's good quality. We're just round the corner from them, sort of off the high street, which is sort of what I wanted, but we have to work harder a little bit to get people in. And we don't work it off. And the reason I wasn't that bothered about being on the high street, we're never going to be a walk-in no. Because not many people
For
walk
me,
in.
your restaurant, it will be difficult to get the momentum going, even in the first 1, 2, 3 years. But the quality of the food means someone comes and then they come again, and then they tell 5 people and they tell another 5 people.
And we've got
it builds and builds.
We've got quite a good retention rate with customers. Like we go through our sort of database of customers, and most of them have been twice. And we obviously still get new customers, but we've got probably over, we've been open just over 12 months, and we've probably got 78 customers, 70, 80 customers that have been back twice.
And keep coming back.
Yeah, they keep
and
coming
you
back.
track that.
Yeah, we track that, yeah.
That's interesting. So I always talk about a business having to attract, convert, and deliver to customers. The conversion, I don't think, is relevant for a restaurant, because once you've attracted them, I guess the conversion is almost part of the attraction. They look on the website. If they have the budget for it, because they'll have a quick look at how much it is, then they're booking. The delivery is actually the plating up aspect of it. So it's not like a traditional business. But how did you attract customers when you first opened? How did you get enough people in, at least to break even and pay yourself and pay your bills? I guess it must have been quite stressful. Yes. You're opening up, you've got a couple of business loans, you've got your parents on, which you feel a debt and obligation to.
At the time, it was like, our budget is so much because it was full kit out, we had to kit the whole place out, it was empty. Social media was my main marketing tool.
Okay.
And then relying on my reputation from Peels and Hampton Manor. And that's sort of why I wanted to stick around the Solihull area, because it was easy to say, well, part of my former head chef.
Did you do a launch when you opened? Or?
Yeah, we did a launch. So I've got a couple of friends that sort of helped with a few bits and sort of some branding and a website, and they supported me with that. And he's got a few really good contacts. So we got some people in to do a launch. We did first night was our family and close family and friends, sort of like just to sort of test it out.
And then they'll tell people about it anyway. So there's a referral process.
And then the second night was like this launch where we launched it, and we got a couple of bloggers in. And then just some good people, sort of regular customers I knew from Peels that I invited along, that I've become close friends with over the years. And they come back to me more now than they did at Hampton Manor and Peels. So, and then it's just trying to be as constant as we can on social media, because I've spent so much money on magazines and newspaper articles and things like that. And I've never asked one of my customers, I said, where did you see us? And they said, I'm in such and such magazine. So I've just stopped doing that. Yeah,
I think it's good for credibility. But like, we had Paul Foster on the podcast, and he spoke about if you focus on the work, the press and PR will come as a result. Like, you've just recently won an award.
Yeah, so we was nominated for West Midlands Food and Drink Awards, and we won Best Fine. There's loads of categories they do, to be fair. And we won Best Fine Dining Restaurant, and then I won Best Chef.
And that includes Birmingham, West Midlands.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Yeah, which is amazing. Yeah. And that to me is just the start of the piece. And I mean, I'm not an expert, but marketing for me at high end, we spoke about this when I came down to the restaurant, is making sure that you're staying in touch with your existing 80 customers by sending them an email once a week, or letting them know when the menu changes or whatever, following them on social media so they follow you back, and then they're getting updates. So they're just front of mind.
Yeah.
Putting out social media content, and that attracts new customers anyway, mostly, I guess, Instagram for restaurants. But then the biggest one is partnerships. I had Harvey Sahota on who's the CEO founder of, well, not the founder actually, because his parents founded this business like 60 years ago. He had a sweet shop on Soho Road in Birmingham, which he's turned into a nationwide catering company. They won loads of awards and they got contracts for, say, the Commonwealth Games, things like that. They've recently got loads of contracts to do nationwide rollouts of Indian food, but they're providing the food and then someone else is branding it up, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know what you call that, but he's done really well anyway. And I think one of the things that he's done really well is partnerships.
Yeah.
So like if you find that people who come to eat at your restaurant, it either has to be a really special occasion, so they've created a budget, and maybe they're on a normal salary in inverted commas, but they've created it's a once in a year thing. Yeah, but if you want repeat business, you need to have someone with disposable income. Yes. And they're affluent. So what else do affluent people do in Solihull? Well, they go and buy sports cars, or they go to the golf club, or they do these other things. And if you have an awareness and a partnership with these companies that also host your ideal clients, and they're willing to, maybe, you know, Ferrari launch a new car, and that Harvey actually did this. Yeah. They did the catering for a new Porsche model launch. Yeah. And then everyone knows about, but it's not that necessarily that relevant for him, because those individuals are not going to go and, well, if they have a wedding, they might go and hire him because he does wedding catering. But for you, you've then instantly got 50 or 60 people who live in the Midlands, who've got the money to buy a Ferrari,
that's it.
Who now know about the restaurant.
We did that at Hampton Manor with Aston Martin, because Aston Martin's not far from.
I guess so. You can learn a lot of lessons about what Hampton Manor did.
So that's sort of, I've got a meeting today about sort of the next phase of sort of getting into some of these businesses, because I think it's well documented at the minute, the way the current climate is. Like restaurants at the minute are sort of hard industry to be in. So like I'm trying to generate them customers, like new customers, and like we've been in Solihull now, like March last year, so 14, 15 months, 16 months. And it's still frustrating when we get new customers coming and say, we didn't even know you was here. We only knew about you last month and we booked a table. Yeah. But that will always be like that because of where we are on the off the high street. People don't necessarily walk past us. So we have to be like present all the time at as many places as we can.
Yeah, and I think it'll change a lot now you've won the award, because you'll end up getting press and PR. You'll be in Birmingham Live, and you'll be in all these websites that compile. I can't remember the name of the website, but there's one main website that does restaurant reviews and compiles all the restaurants. And I look on there, top 10 restaurants of 2023.
Well, this is it. And we've been on all of them already, but like when we open, but then not everybody sees it all the time. So you just have to keep.
Yeah, because if you Google, which I did actually, because I already know about your restaurant, so I looked at. And we've been once, but actually we're planning to come for Sunday lunch this weekend as well, and we'll be regular customers. But I look for other restaurants to take Kieran for her birthday, and if you look at top 10 restaurants 2023 Midlands, you could probably read 10 articles and you won't see Toffs yet, just because it hasn't built to that level where these websites are writing about you. Yeah. When that happens, I think that's almost like a game changer of awareness. People will have heard of you because that's what people Google, top 10 restaurants.
That's it, yeah. So like I said, we're working on that. We're still sort of, and you'll always be working on that. Like that never stops. So.
What's your biggest struggle, or what has been your biggest struggle?
I think that getting new customers in, especially since the turn of Christmas this year. So since,
because you're a chef, right? You're not a marketer.
Exactly, I'm a chef. I'm not. Well, I'm not
and
a business man yet.
You can say build it and they will come, but you just have to be really patient.
Yeah. You've got to be patient, and you've got to keep doing what we're doing, because we know the product is good and what we're doing is amazing. And we've just got to believe in that and just keep pushing it and then trying to market it in the right place.
Yeah. What's the style? I haven't asked you this question. It wasn't on my list, but how would you describe the style of food and your style at Toffs?
It's a cop-out question, cop-out answer, but modern British. Like, that's what we are, but the core of everything we do is British produce. We'll use like a few seasonings like citrus and vinegars and soy from sort of different parts of the world, because that's what modern British is, right? So, but the core of what we do, from fish to veg to all the protein, all the main sort of veg on the plate or garnish on the plate will be British, but then we'll use seasonings from around the world, because that's modern Britain.
I mean, the depth of flavour was incredible. And for me, I'm very health conscious. So I don't always love going to Michelin star restaurants, because although it looks small, in the taster menu. Everything's very rich. And at the end of it, because my body's not used to it, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Whereas when I came for lunch, I think Paul and I ended up having 7 courses.
Yeah.
And I felt fine.
Yeah.
Like I was light. It didn't feel like I had a super heavy meal, but the flavor was there. So that's my favorite style, is where you can eat and actually after the meal, you feel full, but you don't feel
That's it. And I
ill.
think that's the balance with going for the sort of meal that we are, is you can't just stuff, because you're doing a lot of courses. If they get to main course and they don't really want dessert, like you've not done your menu's too big or too heavy. So like, and we've got 2 desserts that follow main course, so it's like, and that sort of then should finish you off. Like we finish with chocolate all the time, so that then should finish you off. Like you should be like, oh, I don't want no more.
I feel satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was a good meal. You've got kids, right? You've got 2 girls, 7 and 3, is it?
The oldest is 7 and the youngest is 3 in October.
How do you balance, now you're running the restaurant, making sure you're spending enough quality time with them, but still working and developing the restaurant? Because it's a really tough balance. I find when I'm not working, I feel a bit guilty. When I'm not with the kids, I feel a bit guilty. Yeah. And also, it's only recently I've made time for myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I'm with my friends, I'm going to only have 2 friends now, because I never allocated any time for 10 years to have friends. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm either working or I'm with my family.
As a chef, it's very similar about friends. Like you do sort of, I don't see anybody I went to school with anymore. I've got not friends like that. So like all my friends are either close family or chefs or in the industry, and so we see them. But to balance work and life is difficult, because, you know, we're open every other Sunday lunch, so I get every other Sunday off, whatever. And then Sunday is the day that I do say to the team, like, I will take the odd Sunday off if we are open and it's not a really busy one. Then I might take it off. Yeah. But I'm flexible with that. Like, I let the lads do this. Like, I will take it in turns to have a Sunday off when we're open.
And do you have days off in the week?
So we're closed Monday, Tuesday. So I'm off Monday, Tuesday. But
and are you working on sourcing produce, menu creation, things like that, or do you take that time? I guess the kids are at school most of the day.
So Monday, my wife has off as well. And then the little one's not at nursery on a Monday. But then Tuesday, the wife works and the little one's at nursery and the oldest is at school. So Tuesday's like my day off.
You can get some admin done and things like that.
Basically, and try and squeeze around the golfing once a month if I can.
Yeah.
But generally, I normally get Tuesday, my day normally consists of getting up, going for a run. Well, doing the school run. Yeah. Because my wife starts at like stupid o'clock in the morning because she opens a gym. Do the school run, go for a run, do some admin.
And do you run daily? How many times do you run a week?
4. I don't do far because of time and getting back and forth to spend time with the kids in the restaurant. But on a Tuesday, I try and do like 12K.
One of my questions was, what are you doing to optimize performance mentally and physically? Running is just good for both of those things.
I think I used to do it a lot, but I've only recently in the last couple of months found the time to be able to do it again. Yeah. And I think I got rid of my car to do it. We sold our car to sort of...
Yeah, we spoke about this. It's an extreme move.
I walk to work. I don't live too far from the restaurant, so it's like 3.5K walk to work. Yeah. So I walk to work in the morning and then run home in the afternoon.
Yeah, so the day routine when you're actually in the restaurant is you're getting a walk and probably your 10,000 steps and you're getting a run in.
Being a chef, you don't really find that much time to do exercise because you're in the kitchen all the time. If I get that, that's my excuse to exercise is my walk to work. And
do you eat healthily yourself or are you picking at bits?
Pick it a lot as a chef, but then you sort of try and be conscious about it. And sort of the last few months is when I've sort of started to try. Now I've sort of balanced the restaurant as much as I can and got to where we are with it. I've found time to be able to sort of take these things. Because the first 12 months are just like mental. Like probably ate really unhealthy. Even though we're chefs and we know how to cook, however we want to cook healthy, you eat a lot of convenience food as a chef. But we do staff meal, we do staff tea every night, and we try and balance that. Some days we'll have a treat and we'll do like not dirty food, like naughty food, but then the rest of the time it is quite sort of balanced and healthy.
Which helps you presumably with your focus, energy.
Yeah, 100%. I think
feeling good, having some time after work to still have energy to talk to your missus.
Yeah, well, she works early morning, so normally when I get in at night time, she's already gone to bed because she's up at 5 in the morning.
So how do you've been married you've known each other for 22 years?
19 years we've been together.
19 years.
Year, and we're married 10 years this year.
Just give me a couple of insights to that. Do you have date days?
Yeah, we try and have date nights. Not very often because you need to get someone to have the kids and that.
And in the week, do you have a little slot where you spend a bit of time together? You know, you mentioned the Monday, but you've got the baby there with you. So not a baby anymore, but you've got the little one there.
But we spend the day together, and it's
with your 3-year-old.
Yeah, with our 3-year-old, and like, she's pretty good, to be fair. And we do what we do, and then. But that's because I work a lot. We try and base our time around the family more than just me and her. So we do have time where we go out probably once a month, just me and her.
Which is still good. I spoke to one of our friends. Hopefully they're not listening to this, although they do listen to the show. They've got a 7-year-old and a little one, probably 3. Since the 7-year-old was born, they've not had a night away or a day date on their own without the kids.
It's crazy. It's hard.
Which I find is incredible. I think you need that time together.
I think, especially in modern life, it's probably not something my parents ever did. They don't think they very rarely left us when we were kids. They might have gone for one night away.
Yeah.
But I think today, not modern life's very different to when we was kids. So I think it's good to have a night away. It might only be one night. We've done 2 nights, I think, twice since we've had kids. But then it's just a night out, one of the grandparents.
Yeah, we try and have like a day date once a month during the week, but we don't always do it. We'll just try and maybe have a walk. Yeah. Good practice was when we used to do it. I think we only did this for 2 weeks, to be fair. Walk the dog together at the start of the week and just plan out the week while you're talking.
That's normally what we do as well. Monday morning, we normally go for a walk with the little one.
And that's brilliant. Yeah. I want to get back to that weekly because you're talking about, okay, well, just the practicalities of it. You get that all out of the way and you know exactly what. There's a lot of conflict sometimes in relationships comes by one person thinks this is going to happen, the other person thinks this is going to happen. No one's putting effort into plan on the weekend, so you end up just watching TV all weekend or doing nothing, going to the local park over and over.
And we always try and plan, have things in the diary to look forward to. And we've just started it again in the last sort of couple of months or so since the restaurant opened. We've not really had that. Yeah. But we always did that before. When I was at Hampton Manor, we always had something in the diary to look forward to.
Work towards. Do you have time to go on holiday?
Yeah, so we shut the restaurant for 2 weeks in the summer.
Okay. So you go away.
2 weeks at Christmas.
Staycation.
Yeah, basically. So after this Christmas, I'm reevaluating whether we shut for the whole of Christmas. But we've already put it in the diary this year and booked plans around it. But we're going to look at that.
Yeah, if you close, you could do a long haul holiday. Yeah. We're going to Thailand over Christmas, actually, which will be interesting.
We're doing a staycation this Christmas for New Year. But then we're going to Mallorca end of August.
Oh, have you been there before?
Yeah, we go there quite regularly. It's 2 hours on a flight. It's easy with the kids.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
But you normally go back to the same place every year, but we're going somewhere different this year in Mallorca. But
yeah, all around that island's good. We thought and had this idea, this is great. We really want to have a holiday home. It'd be nice to come regularly somewhere. And I had a look at like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom houses in Mallorca, and they're like 600 grand. It's like, that's the end of that idea.
We did the same thing. Because we've been there so often. Like we went there every year for not every year, but I think we've been there about five times, this same place.
I think if you go to sort of Alcudia and around there, it's a little bit
cheaper. We get to Calador, which is probably like one of the more expensive. They've got
the premium places. Yeah. For those of you that have not been there, I'd highly recommend Mallorca, but it is a tax haven. Yeah. So you get a lot of expats, any tax haven, and they'll push up all the prices. I was in Portugal recently in Quinta do Lago doing a football holiday with the kids. And these houses that are around there, 10, 15, 20 million pounds. Unbelievable. It's basically a town that was created by an Irish billionaire. It wasn't there before. So he mapped it all out, built 3 golf courses. All the houses are around the golf courses. Minimum price of a house has got to be 1 million at least. Right on the beach. All the restaurants are incredible. They don't have any Michelin star restaurants, but they're all a really high premium, all their own fresh seafood, all of these things. But you're talking 300-400 quid for a meal for 4 with a bottle of wine. It's not a cheap holiday destination. It's incredible. So just to get back on track, and then we'll start wrapping up. we all know that the reality, well, actually, we don't all know, but for those of you that are listening, you might think that the reality of a Michelin star restaurant is actually that it's a license to print money. But quite often it's the opposite, because you buy the best materials possible, which means that actually your margins are a lot lower than a Nando's or a high street chain, because they're buying crap materials and still pricing relatively high. So how important is it, especially with having funding obligations, to keep an eye on your numbers and your cash flow and things like that?
I think because as well, like, as in a Michelin star restaurant, all that stuff, so we haven't got on yet. But it's staff, like staffing's our biggest expense, but you can't do it without a really core team that costs money at the end of the day. They're a skilled cook or chef, like you just said at Nando's. I'm not saying they're not skilled, but it's a different level of skill. So that comes with a higher cost. It's not a minimum wage salary.
No, and you're committing then to month on month as a cost. So you've got your outgoings on your team, you've got your outgoings on your debt obligations. And so managing your finances is important, right? So you know that you're forecasting by your bookings to bring in more than
people think it is like a Michelin star chef or fine dining restaurants make loads of money. There's not many. Like if you're full, yes, but if you're full every night, then eventually you are going to.
But even then, I mean, we obviously have high-end restaurants as growth factor clients, and I would never talk about any individual restaurant's financials. Definitely not on a podcast, but even to anyone else other than the client. But anyone, if you think about it, can see that the margin on a Nando's, where they're buying chicken at such low cost because they've got economies of scale, they're buying so many chickens, and that chicken is kept in a cage with 15 other chickens. When you're buying meat from top quality producers that is genuinely free range and roaming around, and you can't just put your price up by 10x, but the material is more expensive.
It's massive. And like, since I've opened Toffs, like the price of ingredients is just crazy. Like everything's probably gone up 30% at least. But I'm not charging 30% more now than what I was.
Well, you can't necessarily do that. Because if you go to a Michelin star restaurant, you're expecting to pay 300, 400, 500 quid for a meal, and then you whack 30% on the top.
No, you're going to lose.
You're going to start to hit the ceiling for what people
even if people have got that sort of money to spend, they're still not going to do it.
Yeah, and I guess it's really difficult as well, because I always talk about optimum pricing. So if you're listening, imagine like a bell curve. If you're watching, you can just see me moving my hand. The top of that bell curve, for any business is the optimum price, which is basically if you multiply the number of customers that come into your restaurant by the price point, you get the maximum money. But actually, it's not the highest price because you won't have enough customers. It's not the lowest price because you'll have loads of customers, but when you multiply the two together, it's not as high. It's this point that you have to measure. Now, if you've got like a business that sells toilet roll on Amazon, you can manipulate the price on a daily basis and you can actually calculate the top of that bell curve. But in a restaurant, it's much more gut feel. Looking at, I guess, the number of people that visit the website and how many actually go through to book could be a data point. But if you're not at capacity, you've either got to drop your price or increase your marketing, one or the other. And if you get to capacity and then your wait list starts to go 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, then you can start pushing your price up until your wait list gets too small. That's another way of it.
And I think with our style of food and cooking as well, it's very seasonal. So everything, prices are different all the time.
So your margins will change season to season, or you have to change the price.
Yeah, exactly. So if I want to use beef on the menu, like I can't put the price up just because I want to put beef on the menu, because it's a set menu. But you have to work something else somewhere else on the menu to make beef work on the menu, because beef's so expensive at the minute. Even lamb, like we've got lamb on at the minute, and it's just extortionate compared to what it was.
But you won't reduce your standards and go and get poorer quality lamb, right? You have to just make it work.
Oh, we can't do that, and because we know ourselves. Like if we know something's not right in quality ourselves, it don't sit right with us to send it, and we wouldn't. So. And
you're not a growth factor client yet. I'll use the yet that you've got for your Michelin star. What do you do at the moment to manage your cash flow and keep an eye on your numbers?
At the minute, it's me doing it, like me and the wife doing it. The wife does it
So you sit down together
sit
and
down
then you
together
can get your spreadsheets out and you can have a look at it.
So and we're just at the minute, obviously, we're just being ultra cautious and sort of, you know, we had X amount of staff when we first opened because we needed it because we was a new business, new restaurant, and everybody wanted to come and try.
She's
us.
a manager, right? So she's got some skills around managing budgets and things like that.
She does a lot of that for the
okay,
gym.
so she can create you a spreadsheet. She can predict based on bookings on the current month plus what's happened on average in the prior months and this month last year. You can start to predict what's likely to come in terms of bookings.
That's quite difficult because we was new last year. We was a lot busier than we are this year.
It's hard to do it based on last year. You have to do it based on recent months.
Yeah, recent
gut
months.
Feel.
Yeah, and gut feeling.
And I guess if you're partway through a month, how quickly are people booking up?
That's it.
And those kind of things. And then you get an idea of what's coming in. You know what's going out because you've got fixed staff costs, right? Yeah. You've got fixed obligations for your funding, and she can make you like
we sort of know
cash flow.
We sort of know what covers. If we've got X amount of covers in the booked for the coming month, towards the start of that month, we sort of know how many we're going to pick up. We've got a rough idea for the rest, how many come in during the month. So
by the speed at which they're booking for the month. Yeah. That's super interesting. Yeah, and it's really good that you work on it as a team together and had sitting down and actually having a look at the numbers. Yeah. Someone had someone in yesterday for the podcast who has built and sold businesses, running a business now. They've got a product-based business in the health and fitness industry. And we just agreed that you're doing it, which is great. You're looking at your numbers. People that just ignore it, it's just, I don't understand how they can run their business.
You have to. Well, if you ignore it, you're going to
run out of money.
You're going to run out of money. Yeah. It's sort of like, and it's going to come up. It's going to be unexpected as well. You're going to be sort of in the shit then, aren't you?
Yeah, you're not going to see the things coming down the line, the risks and the opportunities. Because if you start building up your cash reserves and you have enough money, we always talk about having 3 bank accounts. One main account, which you keep 3 to 6 months worth of your fixed costs in. Ideally, you build that up. Second one, you put your tax money in it. And the third one is called a growth account, where anything above the first 2 accounts gets dripped into the third account, almost like glasses of water. And that's a simple way to manage your cash for any business. But in the third one, once there's money in there, you can spend it. If there's no money in there, you shouldn't be going and spending on new equipment or new hires or whatever it might be. What are your keys to delivering a memorable meal?
Well, we just do what we do. Yeah, we do what we do. So sort of be really like, we're confident in what we're serving. We're confident in the products. Like, I've got 20 years of cooking experience behind me. The lads that work with me have got probably they're 24, 25. So they've got 10 years between them, over 10 years between themselves. And sort of, we're constantly re-evaluating what we do and sort of progressing what we do.
So quality
and evolving.
of food would be one, right?
And quality of what we're buying, quality of how we're serving it. And food evolves so quickly. There's things that we did last year when we opened that I wouldn't do now.
So you're learning all the time.
So we're always learning. And that's the beauty of hospitality and cooking. You know, there's always someone else is always doing something new around the corner. I think that's the same with anything. There's always a new technique or not a new ingredient. You can't invent a new ingredient, but
new ways of doing things. Yeah, which in business they call that strategic innovation. But always looking at different ways that you can do things or trying to look at the market.
So new techniques become old techniques very quickly, and then old techniques then become new techniques again. So like, cooking will always come back to fire and heat at some point. Like, everyone now these days has got a little barbecue in the kitchen. We've got a little tiny one in the kitchen, and like, you wouldn't have seen that 10 years ago in the kitchen, but now everyone loves a barbecue.
Yeah.
And our little barbecue in the kitchen is literally like about 30 centimetres.
I remember the smell
30 by 20 centimetres.
Incredible, yeah.
We use that for loads of stuff. Like, and in 5 years' time, we probably won't use it because it'll gone out of fashion, but then something else will be.
Staying on trend as well.
And that's, I'm not saying you copy people, but you always take inspiration from wherever you go. And I think that's, you gotta have that about it. I don't want to say I'll go to sort of a restaurant and I'll copy something, but
don't have a closed mind and think I'm the best. Be confident that you can get a staff, for example, but don't think it's my style. I just blinkers on, heads down. You have to look around the world for inspiration.
Because and we go as chefs. We all go and eat in each of his restaurants, and we see something that they did, and we're like, "Well, that's good." But I think we could do something not similar, but I think I'll take that idea of how he did that and put my technique to it or my methods to it. And do it in our way, and that's not copying, that's being inspired by something, I think. And I think you've got to have the balls to admit that you're gonna be inspired by other chefs. And I'm like, I don't copy people, but you get inspiration from other restaurants
100%.
and what you see online. 100%. I think if people say they don't, then I don't believe them.
I don't believe them either. I mean, we were part of a mastermind that had 8 other accountancy firms in it in the UK. It was set up by a mentor of mine at that time. He set up 8 groups of 8 around the world based on the golf courses that he wanted to play golf. So he'd fly to the UK, he's from Australia, fly to the US. There's 2 groups in the US, but non-competing either industries as accountants or geographical locations, just you work together. And then every month and every quarter we'd get together, we'd make a presentation about something that was working really well in our business, and we'd all learn from it. But you'd work together to grow your businesses, because the market in terms of how many businesses there are for potential clients, there's 5.5 million businesses in the UK. So you're not in competition with each other.
No.
And if people understand that, they could be a lot more successful.
I think it's great about all the chefs in Birmingham as well. We're all quite close. We all speak to each other on a WhatsApp group or whatever.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I see. I wouldn't have imagined that was true. I think people's perception would be that you're these divas who all sort of are slagging each other off behind each other's back.
This is, at the minute, if the way the climate is, we all want to support each other. We don't want one of us to go under.
So if you learn a new supplier,
yeah,
or
exactly.
You learn a new,
And like, even if like we know there's been say for instance I've had a Michelin inspection, a Michelin inspector come in, I'd drop a message, say Michelin in there, we've had him in for lunch, we've had him in for dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like we're just looking out for each other. And
yeah, I think that's super nice. One of the things that's been a common theme on the podcast is startup businesses, they automatically assume that other business owners won't give you the time. But successful people, the biggest thing they enjoy is helping other people and bringing them up. Definitely. So if you're a startup and you were able to get into that WhatsApp group, I'm sure the other chefs would actually help that person. They'd want to.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we're all quite supportive of each other, and like at the minute, we need people to go and eat in these restaurants.
Yeah, and if you work together rather than against each other, like you said, everyone's got a different style as well.
There is competition, but it's friendly competition.
And you're not on each other's doorstep.
And even in Birmingham, like you got Adams is in the centre of Birmingham, Panar's is just on the outskirts of the centre of Birmingham.
Yeah.
Cars is in Moseley, Simpson's Edgbaston.
There's loads in Birmingham as well. We went to another one, I won't name it, but we went to another one that plays punk rock music while you eat food as well, which is, again, different location, different style.
Exactly, but they're all in different parts of the region, so they're not, like you said, we're not on each other's doorstep. So, no. And they're all great restaurants for what they are, but they're all very different as well in style. And that's what's so good about it. We can all support. I know we had a table come in last week, and they were recommended to us from
another restaurant. Wow, that's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. So, and if you know that people come in, and like we said, well, you don't necessarily know people's means, but if you get a feel for the fact that one of the things they like to do is have regular meals, it's good to recommend.
Because we had an email last week of a customer that wanted a vegan menu. We don't do vegan food because we're such a small space, we can't sort of accommodate for it.
Do you do vegetarian?
We do vegetarian, but because we cook with butter and cheese and cream and everything, it's hard to we'd have to do separate of everything to create vegan. But I know Simpson's in Birmingham do a good vegan menu, so I sent them back an email saying I know Simpson's do something that might be interested to you. So whether they followed it up or not, I don't know. But
we've had loads of advice in this podcast, tons of value that people can take from it. I always like to ask you, even if you're repeating the points that you've already mentioned, if you're speaking to an up and coming chef, what are your 3 keys to success that you could share with others looking to emulate what you've achieved and fulfill their own potential?
Hard work's an obvious one, but definitely hard work, and don't shy away from anything. Like, always do everything like 100% committed. Source the best. Don't try and cut corners in pricing of ingredients. Like, always source the best, because that will show on the final product. Like in the past, we used at Hampton, we used to use a different standard of butcher for the event space than what we did for the restaurant, which, because you can get away with it. And the times that we had something off that for the restaurant, it was noticeable. Only small margins, but we noticed it. So the customer might not even notice that, but if you notice it yourself, don't be happy with it.
And if your goal is to be recognised ultimately get a star, get AA rosettes, be rewarded, these people will notice.
And also, don't be afraid to ask for help either. Like, if you think you need advice on something, you can think you know everything about cooking. Like, and I joke with the two lads. I say, I forgot more than you know, but I'm only joking. Like, probably have, but it's always don't be afraid to ask for somebody. Ask for someone, even if it's someone below you. Like, ask for their advice. Like, I think getting your team to lead up is important. And I know my two lads below me in my kitchen definitely lead up towards me. Like, they sometimes say to me, "Oh, why don't we do this instead of that?" Like, and I think that's important. Take advice from anywhere. Like, well, not anywhere, but of people you respect, even if they are sort of below you in position in where you work. But was that 3?
That was 3, yeah.
Was it? There you go.
And, well, you kind of gave 2 as part 3, which is what we started with, the importance of the team, which I think is super important. How, is there anything that we didn't speak about that you wanted to mention?
I'm not sure. I think we got plenty in about the restaurant and where we are. And
100%. Oh, this is Kieran's question, which you probably get asked all the time. What's your final meal on death row?
This you get asked all the time.
Yeah. I said to give me a unique question. Give me a unique, but she just really wants to know what you like to eat. Yeah.
Chicken and chips.
Chicken and chips?
A really good chicken and chips.
Like a roast
chicken? Like a whole roast chicken. It's got a whole roast. I'd eat the whole chicken.
So that chicken's could really be like barbecued on a...
Yeah, like barbecued on a spit. Some really good triple cooked chips.
Any sides you go for?
Truffle mayonnaise or something like that. Also, there is some lavishness to it, a bit of truffle.
No barbecue beans, no veg, just chicken and chips.
Maybe some buttered peas on the side or something.
Happy days. And how can people get in touch with you? How do they find the restaurant?
Restaurant websites, www.toffsbyrobpalmer.com.
Yeah. Instagram is good to have a look at some of the food.
Instagram, Toffs by Rob Palmer. My Instagram is Chef Rob Palmer.
And we'll put all these in the links to the description as well. Thanks for coming down, buddy.
No, thank you. It's been great.
Absolute pleasure. I think for everyone, it's been so inspirational. There's not this revolutionary secret to Rob's success, but through hard work and applying the principles that we've been through, he's been able to already, and you're only partway through your career, achieve unbelievable levels of success. Actually, it could be from anywhere in the UK. I'd highly recommend, if you're into your food and you enjoy a good meal, visiting Toffs. This has been Founder Stories. I'm your host, Simon Kalu. I'm the CEO and founder of Grow Factor, and we'll see you in the next episode.